Good day, my dear students, economics AA students. This is a recorded lesson about the assignment number 3. It means this is week 3's assignment. I'm really sorry that this is a bit late. I had a lot of problems today with electricity and no signals and no fiber. But fortunately, my MTN dongle is working again. So I'm going to talk about the questions that you can get about this last part of chapter 1. This is all about production possibility curves and classification of goods. So let's start and see what there is. This is still the same book we are using, and this is all about production possibility curves. Right. First, I just would like to show you again the production possibility curves. What does the production possibility curve tell me? It shows me what a country could produce. So we are making this theory very simple. So we've got one country, and in this country we are producing agricultural products and manufactured products. This red line is a 45-degree line, which shows us constant opportunity cost. I'll get back to that just now. This line, on this red line, we are using all factors of production, totally 100% efficiently. So if any country can produce on this red line, that's the best country. Most countries will produce somewhere inside this triangle, and it's impossible to produce outside. So let me explain why. So in this country, we've got only agricultural products and manufactured products. So we are manufacturing machines and stuff. If all my factors of production are only working on agricultural products, we could make 100 agricultural products, but we are going to make no manufacturing products. Right, so now this country's government said, no, guys, we can't only produce agricultural products, we need to produce manufactured products as well. So they decided to produce 50 of each. And the fact that this is a straight line, there's a constant opportunity cost. So if we go from producing 100 agricultural products to 50, we are gaining 50 manufactured products. Which is also, both of them are 50%. So we have a constant opportunity cost. So if we would have produced 75 agricultural products, we would have been able to produce 25 manufactured products. In other words, we gave up 25 agricultural products and we could have gained 25. And this is a constant line, which is normally not really realistic. And I'll show you more why. All right, and if we've got this line, okay, let's go to the next one. Now we have a curved line. This is concave to the 0 point. In this case, if we used, let's just look at the green line. If we use all factors of production only for agricultural products, we could have produced 700 agricultural products. If we've used all factors of production and we only produced manufactured goods, we could produce 500 manufactured goods. Right, so this line is curved, and this means that in the beginning, we could give up a little bit of the agricultural products and gain a lot of manufactured products. There's another slide where I will show you this in more detail. Right, so this PPC curve says this is all the production that we could produce in this country. We will have to produce somewhere on this green line, because this is where we use all the factors of production. Now we're talking about land, labor, capital, and enterprise. And you remember that we've talked about how could we increase production. We could increase production by maybe getting more people in the country, more immigrants coming in. We could get better technology so we can get more potatoes without any scratch, and technology could also help us manufacture more manufactured products. Right, so there are reasons why the red line is lying outwards. Remember in exam, multiple choice questions, they're going to ask you what could have changed these lines. And many times they try to catch you and they will ask you why, what could have happened for the production possibility curve to move to the inside. Okay, in this case, only agricultural products, there was something that helped them to produce more, but nothing happened in the manufacturing products sector. So the line is still on this green line. They were producing at 100% efficiency, and now on the red line, they're still producing at 100% efficiency, but they've got some help. They had some help in the farming sector so that they can produce more. Okay, so let's look at the production possibility curve on this picture. This is one country. Remember, we are making our example as simple as possible. In this country, we have different kinds of people, and we could actually produce machinery and food. But let's say all the people are now only working on machinery. All the factors of production, land, labor, capital, enterprise, they're all working on machinery. So we could produce 200 units of machinery, but no food. Okay, not a good idea. We need food. And in this factory, there are a lot of people who would love to go to a farm and start farming. Right, so let's see. We can give up a 30 units of machinery, and with all those people who are so excited about going to the farms, we can gain 350 units of food. So we're giving up 15% here, and we're gaining 35%. Right, if we give up another 30 machinery units, we will gain again food, but now this is becoming smaller. So we are giving up the same amount, but we are gaining less and less. Right, so if we start with foods, if we would like to gain 350 units of food, we only have to give up 30 units of machinery. If you would like to gain another 350 food, so that we have 700 units of food, we will be giving up from the 200, 2010 will have to be, we'll be giving up 90 units of machinery. So the opportunity cost of producing more food becomes larger when giving up machinery. So in the exam, if they ask you how much units of machinery that they have to give up to move from 350 units of food to 500 units of food. You will take the 170, that's the units that we could produce, and now we'd like to produce 500 or 700. So we want to double the amount of units of food. And then we'll have to give up 90 units of machinery. So with every one that we give up, 30, my gaining of food is getting smaller and smaller, because now we are starting to use the engineers to farm. If you think about that, they don't want to farm, they want to be engineers. And that's where we get this opportunity cost that's decreasing or increasing. Right, now look at the question. This question asks, explain how production possibility curves might be used in assessing a country's economic performance. Right, so you know now that we are using the simple example, so you could use any example. You could start with your own example and say, let's produce fish and potatoes or whatever. And then sometimes it's a good idea to draw a little graph and then remember to start with knowledge. So first, you're going to give the definition of a production possibility curve, right? 2 marks. Then draw a picture and put your own stuff in. You can say bananas and pineapples or fish and potatoes or whatever. Just keep your example simple. Then you draw your production possibility curve. And now, well, if it was possible now, we could have calculated exactly how much a country should be able to produce if all the factors of production was used efficiently. Labor, 100% employment. Land, we are using every piece of land in this country. Capital, we've got all possible machinery and all the entrepreneurs are busy, right? So if possible, we could have calculated how much would we be able to produce at every point on that production possibility curve. So what it says is, if we are producing with unemployed people, there's a lot of unemployed people, we can't be producing on the production possibility curve. If there are still pieces of land that we are not using, we are not producing on the production possibility curve. Okay, let's go to the question again. Explain how production possibility curves might be used in assessing a country's economic performance. Right, we could say it is very difficult to get the exact figures, accurate figures, but we could see if we have better technology, machinery, computers, more agricultural stuff to help the farmers. We get genetically improved seed so that there are less bugs in the mealies and stuff. So we could then see, okay, but if we could increase technology, we could increase people, we could maybe increase even the motivation of the people. That will help us to increase production, and we will be able to produce at a new production possibility curve. Okay, in your own words, just remember to start with knowledge, and if you want to draw a little graph and then explain your graph, it makes it easier for you to explain what you want to say. And you're always allowed to draw a graph. Don't draw a little piepklein graph, use a third of your page for a graph. Right, and then you can discuss this stuff. So if it's the 8-mark question, you need to give knowledge. You must apply. So you are going to give your own example. Now you're going to apply to your example, bananas, pineapples, or fish and potatoes. You're going to apply your explanation. And then you are going to analyze and say, okay, how could this production possibility curve be used in assessing a country's economic performance? Sounds difficult. The more we do, the easier it gets. Question B. A 12-mark question expects you also now to evaluate. So again, we will start with knowledge. The question is, discuss whether mixed economy is the best way for a country to deal with the basic economic problem. Knowledge. You can start with, you remember those 3 questions: what to produce, how to produce, and for whom. Or you can start by saying what a mixed economy is. But okay, wherever you start, if you want to explain that a mixed economy is the best way, you'll have to explain your market economy and your planned economy very shortly. Explain what a free market economy is, what a planned economy is, why they both fail, and then you can say, therefore, the mixed economy is the best way. Right, so while you are, okay, if you've given your knowledge, you've explained, and you have applied your free market economy to some examples and your planned economy, and then you are analyzing when you are saying, but there was problems, there was disadvantages in the free market economy, and there were disadvantages in the planned economy. And then use your strongest points to explain and to say, yes, a mixed economy is the best way. Okay, and now remember, they ask, discuss whether. So if you feel that a mixed economy is not the best way, you're allowed to say that. Just prove your answer. So for a 12-mark question, you will have an evaluation at the end. And prove whatever you say. If you feel that every economy should be a free market economy, say so. If you feel that a planned economy is the best, say so. Karl Marx also thought that a planned economy is the best. So whatever you do, prove. Prove to the examiner that you know what you're talking about. Right. Now I have an example of the market mechanism working. And this is where we look at how the market decides on price and on quantity demanded. Right. So we are going, again, use a very simple economy. We've got one economy. There's this amount of people. They're working. We've got only 2 goods. And we assume that all the people spend all their money. And then let's look at what happens if demand changes in the market. So we're also going to look at the labor market after we've looked at the goods. So your labor market depends on what the goods are that the people are demanding. Right. And that's your factor market, your labor market. So we've got a very simple model. You can see that this is a demand and supply curve for bread. And then for milk. And this is all that is available in this country. Okay. So remember the equilibrium everyone's happy and satisfied. They don't want to change the equilibrium. So the price is fine, the quantity demanded is fine, price is fine, quantity demanded is fine. And from this, we get the amount of workers that we need in the bread factories and on the farms for the milk. So again, nothing is changing. Everyone's happy. Everyone's eating bread and milk, and this is the price. This is the wage where the workers are satisfied with, and the employers, and this is the quantity of people working there. Same with milk. This is the wage. Everybody's happy, satisfied. Remember, equilibrium means everybody's happy. No one wants to change. So there's this amount of people working there. But now somebody started saying, but guys, milk is not really that good for you. We should eat more bread, drink less milk. So these two graphs are now new graphs for the demand for bread and the demand for milk. Right. In exam and in any graph that you see, your number one graph, this is demand one. This is your original graph. In this case, your demand one, the milk, your demand one is your original graph. And without price changing, suddenly there's a larger demand for bread. And a larger demand for bread and the same amount of bread will push up prices, because now there are more people who want bread, so they don't mind to pay a little bit more. And now you must remember that in this country, everybody's spending all their money. So now they're spending more money on bread, so they will have to spend less money on milk. So your demand curve for milk, without price changing, price haven't changed yet, there was suddenly a lower demand for milk. And a lower demand for milk with the same amount of milk, the price is going to go down. Because now the farmers are sitting with this milk and they want to sell it, and now they are willing to sell it at a lower price. Okay, but this is totally turning the whole economy upside down. Because now, remember, the labor market was also in equilibrium. So what is going to happen now? We need more bread workers. So this is now my factor graph. This is the graph for laborers. And because there's a demand and increase for laborers, the factory employers are willing to pay more money for bread workers. And this becomes a problem because there's a certain amount of money in the country. So some of the milk workers will have to start working for the bread factories, and they are willing to because they will get a higher wage. So at the new equilibrium, everybody's still happy. They don't want to change. And sorry for the milk workers, but the money now is going to the bread workers and less money is available for the milk workers. And this is actually how it works in every sector in the economy. So we've made this a very simple way of explaining how the market mechanism works, how prices and quantities are set in the market, and that it's very easily changed. So there is a summary of what happened to first bread and milk, and then this is the goods market, and then the labor market, because the labor market depends on how much goods people want. Right. So please go again through this. Make sure you understand this, because the next question actually I wanted to ask is, write down a answer, an example answer for yourselves about how the market mechanism works. It's also a very popular question, so let's look at this and get your own example answer. You can write it down for yourself. Get yourself products that you want to use. Simplify your example and write down an answer for this. Right. And then there's self-assessment task 1.4. We haven't done this one yet. So we are thinking about allocating resources, right? Allocating resources is actually deciding who's going to get what. Who's going to get these workers, who's going to get this piece of land, the capital, everything. Okay, so now you're going to think when the government, think carefully about the way in which your own economy allocate resources. And now think, make a few notes on the ways in which the government are responsible for decision making. And if you struggle, go back to the budget. I will add a summary of the budget on your portal. Very interesting. Go through that and see where's the government spending most money and what decisions did they make. And then make a few notes on the ways in which the market mechanism is responsible for decision making. So again, not exactly the same answer as the previous one, but see if you can get your head around how the market mechanism determines prices and decisions on how much. Okay. Use the above information to insert your own economy. So you're going to think of South Africa into the scale shown in figure 1.4. Okay, if someone else is in another country, you may use the other countries as an example. Because I think I heard that someone was in London. Okay, and where do you think South Africa's position is? Okay, so South Africa as a market, as a means of allocating resources. Who is allocating the resources? The government, like in the command economy, or the market economy? And remember now, most countries in the world are now mixed economies. So do a little bit of thinking and decide where do you think South Africa lies? Who is deciding on allocating the resources in South Africa? The government or the private market? The next one, does the government have control over the allocation of resources? Again, think of South Africa and think if you think it's strong, the government has a lot of control, or the government doesn't have a lot of control. And remember again, your answer here is not going to be correct or incorrect. You must just try to prove. See what you've seen. Read some news articles. If you're doing economics and business AS, guys, you must read newspapers or magazines, not you, I mean financial magazines. I will add articles to your portal and I will tell you about them. Most of the time it will be articles that has some linkage with what we are doing. Okay, and then the last question of that is also there. So guys, these assignments, they are for your own best will. So please do them. Don't ignore this. Okay, we are now at week 3. There was an assignment for week 1, week 2, and this is week 3. We will be discussing the answers in Friday's class or Thursday's class if they change the classes. So even if you haven't done your assignments yet, you have a chance until Friday night, 12 o'clock, to submit your assignment. Guys, I am going to tick down, register who has finished assignments. Even if you are not done exactly, please do it neatly. If you want to do it in a book, please take good pictures or scan it in. Or you can answer on the computer in a Word document. And you can send it in. I will make sure that there is a space on the portal where you could then submit. So my plea to you is do these assignments. Last week's assignments, answers are already on the portal. I'm going to put it on the portal now if the signal holds. Otherwise, tomorrow morning. So your answers are there. Even if you write them over, I want you guys to learn how to write and how to answer questions. So don't see the assignments too lightly, and also don't start panicking about assignments. I will try not to make them too long, and we will also in class do some multiple choice question stuff and Kahoot and so on. So we'll do a lot of interesting things, but these assignments will really help you to get good marks because you will be able to answer exactly what they are asking. And this is what I'm trying to teach you. How to read the question and then how to answer the question. Okay, so I'm going to stop the recording now and I'll add it to the portal. I'm not sure whether I'm going to see you on Thursday or Friday, but please do not panic about assignments, but please do them. All right? Have a good day further or evening, and I hope all your subjects are going very well. Goodbye.